Hello everyone, welcome back to our SOLIDWORKS course. In this video, we would be learning how do we position the components in our assembly with a specific or rather a precise value. In the previous video, we used wake motion or rather we specified the location of our component vaguely in order to just observe the motion that would be happening due to the movement of the arm. Let me first explain you the case study that we would be doing in this exercise. Before I do that, I will first explain you what happened or rather summarize what happened in the previous video. In order to create the to and fro motion of this plunger that I have drawn over here, what we did is that we simply moved this arm over here like this. Let me draw the arm. We moved this arm over here to its new position. I will show the new position of the arm with the help of a dotted line. Now the assembly was created so that we had a bearing holding this plunger in place and guiding it into this direction, that is the X direction for its to and fro motion, and we had another arm over here that connected the plunger with the help of nuts to this arm. This arm was again mounted on the base plate with the help of this mounted on the base plate with the help of this pin over here. The motion of this arm was hinged about this point, and when the arm moved behind, it also pulled the plunger with it behind. We simply moved the arm from this first position to the second position in order to observe the motion of this plunger. But in this exercise, we would be taking a look at how do we give the specific movement or rather a specific value for the movement of our components. Also here I would be showing you how mindful you should be while giving the mates. So let's not waste any time over here and move to SOLIDWORKS and begin with the creation of our motion study. Here you can see that I have launched SOLIDWORKS and I have opened this part or rather this assembly over here for which we would be creating a motion study. Before moving to the part of creating the motion study, I will tell you how a mate was important in this one. First, I will expand the mates tab over here, and the end you can see that we have a distance mate over here. I will rotate this part, and first I will suppress this distance mate. I will click on it and click on suppress. Once this distance mate has been suppressed, you can see that this plunger over here is free to move or rather slide on this rod. If I again click on the distance mate, you can see that the distance mate was given between these two faces over here like this. Now that it is clear between which two faces the distance mate was given, I will now again unsuppress the mate. I will click on the mate, unsuppress it. And if you take a look at this mate closely, you can see that again I will show you that with the help of editing this feature. I will edit this feature, and here you can see that the distance between these two faces over here was given to be 0 inches. Now you might be wondering over here, or rather when you create the mates for this assembly over here, you would mindlessly give the mate over here to be coincident because there is no space. Technically there is no space over here. And that is how it should be. You might be thinking that it is how it should be during the assemblies. You want it locked in this position, so you would give it a coincident mate. But when you think of creating a motion study, just imagine if you had given a coincident mate over here, you would not be able to manipulate the distance of this mate. Now why I am telling you we would be manipulating the distance of this mate, I will come to that part in a bit, but I want you to know that why we have added a distance mate over here. I will again press Ctrl 7, get into the isometric mode, and I will show you the motion study 1 tab that we have created over here. I will scroll down and expand the mates over here. In the motion manager over here, you can see that here I have suppressed the distance mate. By doing this, we have created a motion study over here wherein it moves down for say 2 seconds, it holds its position for another 2 seconds, and then again it gets back to its original position. If I click on calculate over here, you can see that this is how the motion for this component has been generated. Now as the distance mate was suppressed, this motion over here was possible. But if I stop this motion over here and then unsuppress this distance mate from the motion manager and then again recalculate it, you can see here that this component is not moving downwards and these keyframes over here have turned red, telling me that it is obstructing the appearance of the keyframe over here. I will stop my motion. These keyframes over here have turned red, telling me that the motion was not possible. If I go and click on this keyframe, you can see that this is how the plunger over here is supposed to move down, or rather the collar is supposed to move down, but as the distance mate is unsuppressed, it is stopping it from moving down, as the distance mate has been defined at a distance of 0 inches. Again, if I right click on it and suppress this and again go to calculate, you can see here that this motion over here was generated very easily. But again, here in this motion, we had simply pulled this plunger down by wake distance and then generated the motion for this. But let's say in this case we wanted to generate a specific motion, or we wanted to assign a specific value for the displacement of this collar. For that, I will now move to my motion study 2. Once here we have opened the motion study 2 tab, what I would be doing here is that first I will move my time bar to the 0 seconds, that is the initial position. Now I will double click on the distance mate in the motion manager over here. You can see that the distance mate has been set to 0. This is the initial position that we want. Now I will simply click on OK and move my time bar to 5 seconds over here. Again, I will double click on the distance 1 mate and set in a value of 2 inches. I will click on OK and you can see here that a new keyframe over here has been added. Again, I will move my time bar to 10 seconds and leave it there. Next, again, I will click on the distance mate and set it to 0 again. I hope you've understood what I've done over here. Here, I did nothing but manipulated, or rather provided the values for the distance mate in the motion manager. I want you to be careful that you need to change the value or for the distance mate from the motion manager over here and not from the property tree manager. Now, if I simply click on calculate, you will see that let it go to the starting point. Now it moves the plunger downwards by 2 inches up till 5 seconds and then again moves it upwards to the 0 inches that we had given it. What it has done over here is that I will first stop the animation. What it has done over here is that by using the distance mate, it has manipulated the position of this collar over here. From 0 to 5 seconds, it moves downwards by 2 inches, and once it has reached its endpoint, it again moves upwards and closes the gap to 0 inches. This is how we have used this distance mate in order to give a specific motion, or rather the displacement, to this collar over here. Now that we have defined the displacement of this collar, we will learn about view keys. What are view keys? These are these black keys over here, which are used to define the view for your assembly. I will show you how do we do it. For that, I will right click on orientation and camera views, and I will make sure that disable view key creation and disable playback of view keys have been turned off. Again, I will right click and show you that there is no selection around these two options, making sure that it is enabled, that is the playback of view keys has been enabled and the creation of view keys has also been enabled. Now here I will move my time bar to say 3.5 seconds. I will click the space bar. I will first click in the graphics area somewhere like this. I will press the space bar and then click on the front view like this. If I move my mouse cursor on all these panes over here, you can see that at this pane, the front view is being shown on the right side. I will click on the front view, and once I have clicked on it, you can see that a new view key has been added over here. What this will do is that it will specify that this view should be added to the animation at 3.5 seconds. Let's first change the playback mode to normal and then click on play. Rather, first we will calculate this motion. Let it calculate all the mates. and generate the motion accordingly. It has calculated all the mates in the motion, and from here I will press play from start. Now that it is playing from the start, you can see that it is also changing the view of our assembly. First it was into the isometric mode, and up till 3.5 seconds it translated or rather rotated the part into the front plane, so that we can view at this assembly from the front plane, and it continued to be in the front plane from 3.5 seconds to 10 seconds. I will now show you. If I will first right click on orientation and camera views, I will show you what happens if these two are ticked on. You can see both of them have been selected over here, disabling the playback of view keys and disabling the view key creation. If I click on play from the start, you can see here that it will play the motion from the start itself. Let's say if I rotate the view like this and set it into this view and let it run from the start again, I will click on start, or rather I will change the playback mode to loop. Now if I play on start, you can see that the view keys are not being considered in the animation. It has disabled the playback of view keys, and it will create the motion in the whatever view that we have set. Let's say if I stop this animation over here, and if I take it to 5 seconds, again press the space bar. I will first click in the graphics area, I will again press the space bar, and now here I will specify the top view. Now that I have specified the top view over here, you can see that a view key over here has not been added because we've disabled it. Again, I will right click on this option that says disable the playback of view keys. I will right click again and now make sure that these two options have been enabled, that is not selected. Now if I click on play from start, you can see that it is now considering the play keys, or rather the view keys in the motion, and generating a motion accordingly. This is all that you had to learn in this video. You learned how do we add specific value for the displacement of any of the components, and also how can you manipulate the views of your assembly during the motion study. Now we will simply click on this option that says save animation, and then again we'll create a video for the same. I will specify the location for my animation. I will click on save, and in the video compression I will set it to the normal settings. I will click on OK and generate this animation. Here it is asking me if I want to recalculate it. I will click on yes, and then recalculate my motion study like this, and it will create a video in the background. Let's now take a look at the video that it has created. I have opened the video from the saved location, and if I play it, you can see that first it rotates the part from the isometric view to the front view, and then continues the plunger motion, that is the motion of this collar here simultaneously. This is how we provided a specific distance to our component over here, and also change the view during the animation. I will get back to SOLIDWORKS now. With the help of this small example, I hope you understood the importance of giving the right mates, how we used the distance mate in order to specify the displacement of this collar. Also, next we learned how to specify the specific displacement for any of your components, and in the end we learned how to create view keys in our animation. I hope all of these were quite well understood and you had fun learning about them. I will see you in the next one.